I see everyone in the comments saying this, that, and the other thing about how Kamala Harris won't be the nominee. But you're wrong. Kamala Harris will be the nominee over Joe Biden. First of all, Joe Biden had a horrible debate performance. Second of all, he has COVID. And third of all, she does better in head-to-head polls against Donald Trump. As you can see, Biden is losing to Trump in head-to-head polling, while Harris seems to be tied with Trump. So for that reason, we're going to do a Harris versus Trump head-to-head election matchup and see who will win. And before we continue, I have something special for you today. So I brought an expert. He's a biochemist, he is from Princeton, and he does political pundit work on the side. So introduce yourself, George.
Alright, so hey guys, my name's George here. And I know I'm a guest, but I do want to disagree with you. Not to offend you or anything, but I do believe that Joe Biden will actually come back and manage to win this whole thing.
So, as we all can tell, this George guy is wrong. Right, guys? Alright, now that the applause is over, I'm going to... Okay, what do you want to say, George?
I think you should let me talk. You keep just like, guys, yes. But no, you gotta let me talk here. So, the reason why I think Biden will win is because he helped so much during the last presidency that I think it'll carry over, like especially with the lower gas prices. Although, to be fair, I don't know about him being Trump, but I think he's gonna be Kamala Harris. And obviously, I'm leaning more towards Trump because not only did he survive that bullet that almost completely missed him, but he was able to come back and he was raising that fist, man. It was something about it was just so poetic and elegant.
So it seems we have the only college-educated guy that supports Donald Trump here today. But regardless, I'm going to fill out the safe states because those are things that George and I can agree with. And these are Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Maine's first for the Democrats.
Okay, so I'm actually going to disagree with you on Jersey. And the reason why is because if we, after the most recent survey that we've seen, it's actually proven that more than half of New Jersey is more likely to vote for Trump.
So George clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, and he kind of corrected himself mid-sentence. He was about to say Biden has more people voting for him, but actually it's Trump. And that's why New Jersey isn't considered a safe state. And for the Republicans, the safe states are Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Nebraska's first, Nebraska's third, Kansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia, and South Carolina.
Alright, so I'll be honest here, I don't actually know too much about Texas, but I feel like, just a feeling, it's a gut feeling, you know what I mean? I feel like with their strong ideology on guns, they'd be more inclined to vote for Trump.
George isn't bringing up a bad point here. Let's include Texas as a safe state, as well as Florida and Ohio.
Yeah, just to be clear, Texas and Florida may not have the best educated people, which is why they're more likely to vote for Trump.
So George is clearly partisan. Earlier, he was supporting Trump, and now he seems to be being demeaning towards Trump voters. So honestly, I don't know where George stands on these issues. Maybe he should stay in biochemistry or so. I don't even know. Maybe he should focus on being like Robert Oppenheimer instead of Franklin Roosevelt. You know what I'm saying?
Personally, I think this is like super dumb. I don't know why we even care for this, but we all know that Trump's going to win.
Okay, so the first part, why we care about this because in case Harris is the nominee, let's see who actually wins this election. And second of all, George says he thinks Trump is going to win. Well, let's see about that. Let's start with some of the states on the West Coast, starting with Nevada. So there's been some recent polling in Nevada, and the polling in Nevada has been favorable to Trump, to say the least. George is right about that, and as you see on the betting websites, Trump
Okay.
actually is leading in the popular vote. And in Nevada, he has a 78% chance. And in Arizona, a similar 75% chance.
Hell yeah.
So for that reason, Trump wins in Nevada and Arizona. George, anything to say on Colorado?
Personally, I think Biden's going to win Colorado.
George is right about that. As you can see, Biden does have an 86% chance. Well, George, remember this is Harris. Harris has an 86% chance
My bad.
at the state of Colorado. And in New Mexico, she has a similar chance, probably something like 70%. Judging by past trends, New Mexico typically votes more for the Republicans than Colorado does. And now let's go to Minnesota. So Minnesota's in the Midwest, a group of states that Trump has been trying to get ever since he picked J.D. Vance as his vice president. So according to the betting markets, Minnesota is likely going to the Democrats, being Harris. And what do you think, George?
Personally, on this one specifically, I don't disagree with you. I think really Harris is going to win this one. Although, if you look at all the other states like maybe like Pennsylvania, Georgia, that's more leaning to Trump.
George is right about this. Pennsylvania and Georgia are both likely going to Donald Trump. We saw in 2020 they barely went to President Biden, but in 2016 they both went to Trump by pretty decent margins. This was very close, 2016.
I told you I was an expert.
But back in the day, Pennsylvania was actually going to the Democrats, so it was actually a flip towards Trump, and Trump will likely flip it back in 2024. And in Wisconsin, Trump will likely win. There has been some polling that is against Donald Trump, but I think Trump will do better in the Midwest against Harris than he does against Biden. And that's because Biden himself is from Scranton. He more so resonates with Midwest voters due to his background, especially being from Scranton, middle class. Harris was from California, and for that reason, she doesn't resonate as well with Midwest voters. And for that reason, Trump wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And the one thing to see if Trump will truly destroy Biden in this election is if he wins the Northeast. He's likely not going to win New Hampshire and Maine, states that were close in 2016 but not in 2020, which the betting websites have as pretty decent margins for Biden, and in this case probably Harris too, as remember the East Coast and West Coast vote on similar patterns. So Harris does win the states of Maine and New Hampshire. However, Trump wins Maine's 2nd district, and he also wins Nebraska's 2nd district, both of which he won back in 2016. And finally, we end off with New Jersey, the state where George actually went to college, where Harris will win, but not by crazy margins. She'll win by margins similar to New York, but not quite safe margins. And finally, Yes, George, so what do you think about Virginia?
Virginia, I believe, is more, is at least not now, but in the future, it's definitely going to be more leaning towards Trump or the Republican Party.
Glenn Youngkin was elected as governor back in 2021, and the Republicans have been gaining steam in Virginia, even though they did poorly back in the 2023 elections. So for that reason, George thinks Virginia will go to the Republicans, and I don't think this is too far-fetched. Also, North Carolina will go to Republicans as it went to Trump in 2016 as well as 2020. So that's our final prediction, 326 to Trump and 212 to Harris. And make sure to like and subscribe for more. And finally, let's conclude with some words from George, some words of wisdom. This is a biochemist we're talking about. He knows his stuff.
Nothing stronger than me and a carbon bond. And this is just like my political predictions. So y'all should definitely listen in and subscribe for more content like this.
Alright, if you don't know what George is saying, make sure to subscribe. If you do know what George is saying somehow, I don't even know if he knows what he's saying, make sure to subscribe. And thank you for watching.